Jayo Radha Madhava Jaya Kunja Bihari Jayo Radha Madhava Jaya Kunja Bihari Gopi Jana Balaba Jayo Giri Bardari Jayo Giri Bardari Gopi Jana Balaba Jayo Giri Bardari Jayo Giri Bardari Jasodhanandana Jayo Braja Janaranjana Jayo Jasodhanandana Jasodhanandana Jayo Braja Janaranjana Jayo Jasodhanandana Jayo Braja Jamuna Tirabanachare Jayo Kunja Bihari Jayo Kunja Bihari Jamuna Tirabanachare Jayo Kunja Bihari Jaya Kunja Bihari Jamuna Tirabanachare Rabanachare Jaya Kunja Bihari Jaya Kunja Hey Jamuna Tirabanachare Jayo Kunja Bihari Jayo Kunja Bihari Jayo Radha Madhava Jaya Kunda Bihari Jayo Radha Jayo Radha Madhava Jayo Kunja Bihari Jayo Gopi Jana Ballabha Jayo Giri Baradari Jaya Giri Baradari Hey Gopi Jana Ballabha Jayo Giri Baradari Jayo Giri Baradari Hey Gopi Jana Ballabha Jayo Giri Baradari Jayo Giri Baradari Jasodanandana Jayo Brajadaranjana Jayo Jasodanandana Jasodhanandana Jayo Braja Janaranjana Jayo Jasodhanandana Jayo Jasodhanandana Jayo Gopi Janaranjana Jayo Jasodhanandana Jamuna Tiravanachare Jayo Kunja Bihari Jayo Kunja Bihari Jamuna Tiravanachare Jayo Hey Jamuna Tiravanachare Jayo Kunja Bihari Jayo Kunja Bihari Jamuna Tiravanachare Jayo Kunja Hey Jamuna Tiravanachare Jayo Kunja Bihari Jayo Kunja Bihari Jamuna Tiravanachare Jayo Kunja Bihari Jayo Kunja Bihari Jayo Radha Madhava Jaya Kunja Bihari Jaya Rama Hey Jayo Radha Madhava Jayo Kunja Bihari Jayo Radha Madhava Hey Gopi Jana Vallabha Jayo Girivardhari Jayo Girivardhari Gopi Jana Vallabha Jayo Girivardhari Jayo Girivardhari Hey Gopi Jana Vallabha Jayo Giri Baradari, Jayo Giri Baradari, Gopi Jana. Hey Jasodhanandana, Jaya Braja Janaranjana, Jaya Jasodhanandana. Hey Jasodhanandana, Jayo Braja Janaranjana, Jayo Jasodhanandana. Jamuna Tiravanachare, Jaya Kunja Bihari, Jaya Kunja Bihari. Hey Jamuna Tiravanachare, Jayo Kunja Bihari, Jayo Kunja Bihari. Jamuna Tiravanachare, Hey Jayo Radha Madhava, Jayo Kunja Bihari, Jaya Radha Madhava, Jaya Kunja. Hey Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare, Hare Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Nittai Gaura Haribo, Haribo, Hari Bo, Gaura Hari Bo. Jayo Jayo Prabhupada, Prabhupada, Prabhupada Jaya Prabhupada. Jayom Vishnupad Paramahansa Parivrajikacharya Asto Tadastasisi Madh, His Divine Grace, A.C. Bhaktivedanta Swami Maharaj, Srila Prabhupada Ki, Srila Prabhupada Ki. Jayom Vishnupad Paramahansa Parivrajikacharya Asto Tadastasisi Madh, His Divine Grace, Srila Bhakti Siddhanta Saraswati Goswami Prabhupada Ki. Ananta Koti Vaishnavrind Ki, Namacharya Srila Haridas Thakur Ki. Premsika Ho Shri Krishna Chaitanya Puvanatananda Shri Advaita Gadadhar Shri Vasadi Gaur Bhaktivinoda Ki. Shri Shri Radha Krishna Gopinath Shamakun Radha Kun Giri Govardhan Ki. Shri Vrindavan Dham Ki. Shri Mayapur Navadip Dham Ki. Ganga Maya Ki. Jamuna Maya Ki. Bhakti Devi Ki. Tulsi Maharani Ki. Sambeda Bhaktivinoda Ki. Srinatai Goprimanandi. All glories to the assembled devotees. All glories to the assembled devotees. All glories to the assembled devotees. Glories to Shri Guru, Shri Guranga Hari Bo. Don't go anywhere. Don't go anywhere. Hare Krishna. Good morning, everyone. How are you? That didn't sound very enthusiastic. I heard somebody go, sleepy. Gosh, there's a lot more people here today than there were yesterday. I always tell Indradumna Swami Maharaj that I'm afraid to speak in front of big groups of people. And there's a big group of people here today, so I think I'm going to cut out that way and let him speak. Well, before we begin speaking on one topic of the Brihad Bhagavatamritam, since it's Easter Sunday, I'd like to wish everybody, a joyful Easter. Srila Prabhupada, he always spoke very highly of Lord Jesus Christ. And he always spoke of the pure and unalloyed devotion of Jesus Christ. And today is Easter. Today is the resurrection day of Jesus. And many times we all come to the spiritual path. We're here because we've come to the spiritual path. Grace has fallen upon us. After so many lifetimes of wandering in material existence, by great fortune, we've come to the path of Krishna consciousness. And we never read anywhere that the spiritual path is going to be an easy path. A spiritual path is always a strong path. A spiritual path is always a path that's got many, many tests. I mean, amongst us sitting here, have any of you all ever experienced great tests in your pursuit of Krishna consciousness? Dang, we got a lot of honest people here today. Great tests will always be there. And when Srila Prabhupada would speak about Jesus, he would often say that he was simply teaching love. He was teaching that we should love God and we should love our neighbor as ourselves. And then, because of his teachings of love, he was subjected to so many tribulations. But the wonderful point is that despite the fact that he was subjected to so many tribulations, his faith in God and his faith in his Father, it never faltered. Never once did it falter. And we think how, I guess it was last Thursday, Palm Thursday, I think, according to the history, that's when he entered into Jerusalem. And then he was arrested, and then he was subjected to so many different problems, so many harsh problems, and then he was crucified, simply for the sake of love, simply for the sake of teaching people that the greatest thing that we have in our lives is love. The greatest example, or how to say, the greatest exposition of our love is when we direct our love to God. But in Bhagavad Gita, Krishna says, Mame vangsa jiva loke jiva bhuta sanatana. He says that everybody living in this conditioned world, they're my anshas, they're my parts and parcels. So, simply to say that we should love God but not love everyone else is not enough. Our real perspective should be that we love God and we love all of God's parts and parcels. Then that conception of love will be complete. So, he just unfailingly and unfalteringly, he showed that type of love. And I think that there was although I grew up a Christian, I can't remember too much now. I can't remember too much now what I was doing yesterday. But seems that when Christ and his disciples were being arrested by the Roman guards, one of his disciples took up a sword, and he was going to, make some defense. And then Jesus said, no, put it down. He said, if you live by the sword, you'll die by the sword. The greatest power is love. And so it's a good example for all of us because we understand that Chaitanya Mahaprabhu has given us that same message. Chaitanya Mahaprabhu, he never forced. Chaitanya Mahaprabhu only loved. Chaitanya Mahaprabhu, he didn't take into consideration our myriad disqualifications. Rather, Chaitanya Mahaprabhu, he said, simply take love. Take the highest love. And Chaitanya Charitamrita says, Anarpita charim chirat karunaya avatirna kalau samarpaitam unata ujvalarasam sabhakti shriyam. That he is the Karuna avatar. And he came to give everybody what is called ujvala rasa, which means the brilliantly effulgent love that is shared by the residents of Goloka Vrindavan for Krishna, where they love Krishna unrestrictedly, and Krishna loves them unrestrictedly. Jejita mam prabhadyante tang sataiva bhajamyaham. Krishna says, he says, in proportion to the way they love me, bhajamyaham, I reward them. So it's a nice day. Although we're Gaudiya Vaishnavas, still we think of the shining example of great acharyas and great Vaishnavas like Jesus Christ. And even after all of his tribulation, after all he had to, take on in the name of love, then they went and they put him on the cross. And it said that one of the last things he said was, "My Father, why did you forsake me?" I was like, why did you forsake me? But then the last thing that he said, now I give my life into the hands of my Father. Now that's the definition of love, according to Srila Rupa Goswami. That in a relationship of love, there may be every conceivable, tangible reason for the relationship to be broken. But still, the relationship never breaks. That's called love, you see. Father, why did you give up on me? Why did you forsake me? Why did you let these guys nail me on a cross? But Father, now I give my life into your hands. Chaitanya Mahaprabhu, he said the same thing in the madness of love. He said, Aslishyava pararatam panashtumam adarshanam marmahatam korotu va yata tata vavidadato lampato mat prananatas tu sa evanapara. He said, Krishna, if you like, you can hold me in your arms and you can crush me by your embrace. Or if you like, you can never be present before me. And if you like, you can trample me under your feet. You can do anything to me in any way that you want to. But, he says, you will always remain my prananath, meaning you will always remain the Lord of my life. Whatever you do, it doesn't matter. Put me on a cross. Still, you remain the Lord of my life. That's called selfless love. And that is our goal. That's the objective of our journey in Krishna consciousness. That through following this process of bhakti yoga, which has been given to us by our spiritual masters, been given to us by our founder Acharya, Srila Prabhupada, has been given to us by our predecessor Acharyas, which has been given to us by Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu. By following this process, eventually our hearts will become cleansed and we'll come to that position of actually being worthy recipients and worthy practitioners of this selfless love of God. That is our big goal. That's what we really want. And so, just a few thoughts on the Prince of Peace. You know, it was a not very nice name for Jesus. You know, the Prince of Peace. I think there was that one instance when many of the folks in Jerusalem, they were going to the authorities and they were saying, he says he's a king, he says he's a king, he says he's a king. And so they took him to the representative of the government of Rome. I think it was Pontius Pilate. And Pilate said, "Are you a king?" He said, "Yes, I'm a king, but not in this world." You see. So he is called the Prince of Peace, because if we learn this art of loving God, we will always be living in peace. If we don't learn the art and the science of loving God, regardless of what we have, there won't be peace. That's for sure. Ashradadana purusha dharmasyasya parantapa aprapyamam nivartante mrityu samsara bhartmane. Ashradadana purusha. If we are unfaithful, Shradadana Purusha Dharmasya Parantapa, we will fall down. And what will we fall down into? Or no, he says, Aprapyamam Nivartante. You know, we've all heard of this. We read in Nectar of Devotion about yogis, and they have this prapti city. You know, they can catch things from anywhere in the universe. But he says, Aprapyamam. He says, you'll never catch me. Nivartante, boop, you fall down. And then you into Mrityu Samsara Varmani, into the ocean of birth and death. So let us become lovers of Krishna. And let us become lovers of one another in Krishna consciousness through like last night, Bhattahari Prabhu, he spoke so beautifully before his kirtan, talking about, you know, through chanting What was that statement, Bhattahari Prabhu? You said Hari Nam develops all of our relationships. Tell me again. Japa, we, in Kirtan. That was so beautiful. By japa, we purify our hearts. By kirtan, we purify our relationships. And when our relationships are pure, then we can love. And when all the other gunk is cleared away, there's nothing that any of us want more than love. Is that it? And Srila Giriraj Swami Maharaj, he was speaking one time. He was mentioning how, I think when he was first coming to Krishna consciousness, I mean, any of you who have had the blessed darshan of Giriraj Swami Maharaj, you know how deep he is, you know, how he's really deep, you know, and really, he's so thoughtful. And he was a university student, I think at MIT or Boston University or some big school, and Srila Prabhupada went there, and he was listening to Prabhupada, and he was trying to analyze the whole thing, because he was trying to see, is this man really the guru I should give my life to? And then he listened to Prabhupada, and he listened to what Prabhupada was explaining. And then Giriraj Swami, he came up with his analysis. And his analysis is this Krishna consciousness movement is really nothing other than love disguised as philosophy. You know, which is, have you heard Giriraj Swami Maharaj say that before? He said Krishna consciousness is love disguised as philosophy. So, okay, I got 30 minutes. I better talk what I'm supposed to talk about. Yesterday we mentioned that Brihad Bhagavatamritam was compiled by Srila Sanatana Goswami. It is the first book. It was compiled by the 6 Goswamis of Vrindavan. Chaitanya Mahaprabhu requested them to go to Vrindavan, uncover the places of Krishna's activities, and to write books. Nana Shastra Vicharana Nipuno Shaddharma Sanstapako. And so they did that. They used to assemble at the place of the Radha Damodar Mandir in Vrindavan. That was the library. They had a vast library there. And they used to go and they would study and they would discuss and have katha, and they lived their lives as perfect ascetics and mendicants without anything, you know, really without anything. I mean, now Vrindavan probably, we're sitting in this beautiful climate here. Vrindavan now is probably about 40 degrees, and it will go up to 50. You know, now is like the seed, and the fruit will come next month. You know, and then in Vrindavan it goes down to like, you know, 2 or 3 degrees in the wintertime. You know, it's like, Vrindavan is extreme. And the Goswamis, they live there under trees, just wearing like a little loincloth, but they wrote books, you know, and they wrote the books that have caused all of us to be here today. First book was Brihad Bhagavatamritam, and it explains the Amrita, or the nectar, of the Srimad Bhagavatam. And Brihad Bhagavatamritam, Srila Sanatan explains, is based on a discussion between Jaimini Rishi and Maharaj Janmajaya. Maharaj Janmajaya, he was the son of Maharaj Parikshit. Maharaj Parikshit, we know, is the personality, he's the character of the Bhagavatam. He's a pure devotee of Lord Krishna. When he was born, all of the astrologers said that practically he has the same qualities as Krishna, wonderful, wonderful qualities. And he's the grandson of the Pandavas, extraordinary lineage, king of the world. But due to the arrangement, the mystical arrangement of God, he was cursed by the son of a Brahmin. He had 7 days to live. And so that's Bhagavatam was spoken to Parikshit Maharaj from the lips of Srila Shukadeva Goswami. And then Jaimini Rishi, he explains to Parikshit Maharaj's son that after the Bhagavatam had been spoken, then Parikshit Maharaj's mother Uttara came to him with a burning desire and said, "My son, what nectar did this great person just speak to you?" And Parikshit Maharaj, he folded his hands and he said, "Mom, now's not the time to speak." He said, there's a big snake bird coming. And he said, he said, that snake bird is worse than an Australian death adder. He says it's worse than a brown snake. Vinod Bihari told me, the other day how he was in the school one day and a brown snake came in. One of the bad brown snakes, right? Because there's a good brown snake and no, they're all bad. B-A-D. And so, Vinod Bihari being the principal over here, his viryabhav, his, chivalrous nature, and his, he's in charge. So he said, "Lock all the kids in the room. I'm going to take care of this brown snake." And so he, they locked all the kids in the room, and then Vinod got a broom, and he thought he was going to, swish the brown snake out. So he went to the brown snake with the broom, and the brown snake looked down and said, "Man, who do you think you are?" And the brown snake started chasing Vinod, and he said he must have run 2 or 3 kilometers to get away from the guy. But Parikshit Maharaj was waiting for something worse than a brown snake. And he said, "Mom, this is really not the time to talk." And he said, "But because you're my mother, and because you are a pure devotee of the personality of Godhead, Sri Krishna, and because the duty of the Vaishnavas is to speak Krishna Katha, therefore I will try to give you the essence of what I've heard." So the first section of the Bhagavatamritam is the quest to understand who really are the greatest devotees of the Lord. Because goodness, even in this, noble assembly of Vaishnavas and Vaishnavis that we have here, there's so many great and glorious Vaishnavas, so many wonderful, devotees of the Lord, but everybody sitting here is in a different position, is it not? I mean, I can recall, one time many years ago, I went to New Vrajadam in Hungary, with Srila Shivaram Swami Maharaj. And his mom and his aunt were there. And they were both, I think at that time, his mom was 95 and his aunt was 93. And they are both, Nazi death camp survivors. And glorious women, glorious, powerful women. And I was introduced and we were speaking and we had just had like a really insane kirtan. And my shirt was all wet. And after, all of this introduction with my completely wet shirt on, I turned to Shivaram Maharaj and I said, could I borrow one of your kurtas? And Shivaram Swami's mom looked over at me and she said, one size fits all. So it's not like that amongst Vaishnavas. It's, everybody is at a different level of their loving devotion to Krishna. We've all come here and the aim, the resolute aim and the resolute intent of all of our lives is to develop that love for Krishna, but some people may have more and some people may have less, according to how they apply themselves in devotional service. And they're all perfect. It's not that one is inferior, but it's simply, different levels of feeling and different levels of love. So this first quest is to understand, really though, who are the devotees who have received the extreme limit of Krishna's love and mercy? Who are those that have just surrendered themselves so much in love that even Krishna says that there's no one who is more full of my love than they. So then the story begins. And the story begins at Prayag. Does anyone here know where Prayag is? So a number of people know where Prayag is. Prayag is where the confluence of the Jamuna and the Ganga and the Saraswati come together. If anyone here is familiar with the geography of India, it is in the state of UP, Uttar Pradesh. Uttar Pradesh is also the place where you find Vrindavan. It's the place where you find Ayodhya. It's the Lord appeared there, many times, and Prayag is the confluence, and that's where the Kumbh Mela takes place. So the story begins at Prayag, and Kumbh Mela was going on. And there were many Brahmins there, and the Brahmins had performed all of their religious rituals, and they all had their sacred bath inside the river. Has anyone taken bath at Prayag during Kumbh Mela? Indra Swami and I did it together back in 1989. Kumbh Mela is when there's a particular alignment of constellations, and then how does it go? The Amrita that was churned, like the churning of the Mandara mountain, and it was grabbed first by the demons, but then gotten back by the Mohini Murti. And just at exact moments, astrological moments, that nectar drips from the heavens into the confluence. And if you take bath there, then you're guaranteed to be liberated from material life, material existence. The Brahmins were there, and they were chanting and dancing, and they were feeling very happy. And then one special Brahmin came. And when that special Brahmin came, he did all sorts of worship. And when he completed his worship, then he started giving in charity to the other Brahmins. And he started giving foodstuff. And he was engaging in Sankirtan. And he was performing so many meritorious activities. And there was an observer of this, and this is one of the main players in this story, and that observer was Narada Muni. And Narada was observing the behavior of this great person, and Narada became overwhelmed. Narada said, I have seen a Vaishnava. I'm overwhelmed. I've seen a devotee who's serving others in love. That should actually always be our feeling, I think I've read, I forget the name of that book now by Srila Vishwanath Chakravarti Thakur. Madhurya Kadambini? I think I read in Madhurya Kadambini that Srila Vishwanath says that we should always feel excessive joy when we see Vaishnavas. Whenever we see a Vaishnava, we should think, oh, Radha Priya, you look so effulgent today. So smiling. Prabhu, your tilak is so straight. I can see your Harinam Chara. That shows me that you love Kirtan of the Lord. He said, if you see a Vaishnav carrying a book, oh, you study the Shastra. Please tell me Krishna Katha. Whereas if we see a Vaishnava and we go, oh my God, let me go the other direction. that means our consciousness is not correct. So Narada was in ecstasy, and he went and he started glorifying that devotee. And he started saying, you are the greatest devotee of the Lord. I can see that the Lord has just reposed his mercy in you. And then that man, he was very humble, and he said, no, please, do not say this. He said, I'm not a devotee at all. And I think this is like one of the ornaments of any devotee. This is the natural ornament of any devotee, and that natural ornament is called dainya. Dainya means humility. And every devotee wears this to one degree or another. And when we have extreme dainya, which will arise through prema bhakti, then we'll see Krishna. But even in this position, if somebody says, oh, Prabhu, then we'll always go, no, I'm useless, I'm not so good, please. The Brahmin said, really, I'm not so good. He said, but I know somebody who is good. He said, down in the southern country, he said, there's a king. And he always has such beautiful festivals. And they worship the deity of the Lord. You go there. He's really a Vaishnava. And because Narada is the guru of all Vaishnavas, and because he has these extraordinarily wonderful qualities, he says, yes, let me go. I will run immediately if I can see a Vaishnava. That's another nice thought, isn't it? I mean, it's like the feeling, are we ready to run immediately to see a Vaishnava? Are we ready to run immediately to get association, good association? You know, like we hear that there's senior association that we should serve with love. And we hear that there are peers in Krishna consciousness. And we serve them in love also, and we take association, and we hear katha. And then we hear that there are juniors in Krishna consciousness also, and we serve them by giving mercy. See, we take mercy, we give mercy, you see. But Narada was just ready to run, so he ran to the southern kingdom. And he saw this king performing so many wonderful celebrations, so many wonderful activities. He said, you have received Krishna's mercy. You're the greatest devotee of the Lord. And then the king was going, no, 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 please don't speak of me that way. He said, I'm not a devotee at all. He said, but I know who the devotees are. And Narada said, you do? And he said, yes. And he said, the real devotees are the devotees who live beyond this world. He said, the real devotees are the devotees who live in heaven. He said, you should go to the demigods. They're Krishna's, they're the Supreme Lord's appointed representatives. They do so many sevas. You go there. Narada again, his heart catches on fire. I'm going to find a devotee. I mean, I wish my heart were like that. That my heart was always just burning. If my heart were burning that way all the time, I know that I would be in good health, to just get the best Vaishnava association. Narada left immediately because we know, maybe there's some new people here, Narada Muni is a very transcendental person. And he simply chants, and he plays his veena. He can travel anywhere. So Narada traveled to heaven, and the first person that he approached in heaven, naturally, was the king of heaven, whose name was Indra. And Indra, he started approaching him and saying, you're the greatest devotee of the Lord. And Indra was going, and it was interesting, because when he got to heaven, Lord Vishnu was sitting on a throne, and Indra was sitting on a throne next to Lord Vishnu. And then Lord Vishnu got up and he went to a palace, and Indra is still sitting there, and Narada starts going, you are the greatest devotee. Please give me your mercy. And Indra said, oh sage, oh leader of all sages, why are you saying I'm a devotee? You know I've done so many bad things. Or maybe you don't know I've done so many bad things. He said, one time I ended up with eyes all over my body, It wasn't because I was doing good things. He said, one time I became annoyed, with, Sri Krishna. I forgot who Sri Krishna was. I just assumed that there was some, cheeky boy in Vrindavan who was telling his father to do something other than worshiping me. And I just rained havoc on Vrindavan. I forgot who my Lord is, How can you say that I'm a great devotee of the Lord? No, it just doesn't work. He said, but if you really want to know who a great devotee is, I'll tell you. And then Narada was like, who's that? He said, Lord Brahma. You go to him. He's a great devotee. Immediately Narada goes to Brahma. Same situation. Narada is approaching and praying. He says, you are the greatest devotee of the Lord. And Brahma looks at him and says, and you're my son. Why are you saying that? He said, you don't know who I am? He said, don't you know that also I became quite bewildered one time. I wanted to do bad things. He said, I've been bewildered a few times. I wanted to do very bad things. He said, and also, I was looking at, these things happening in Vrindavan, and I went down to Vrindavan and I stole cowherd boys and I stole calves and I put them all away. He said, no, I'm not a devotee of the Lord at all. He said, but if you want to know who a devotee of the Lord is, and Narada went, yes. He said, go to Lord Shiva. So it's like the story continues. So he went to Lord Shiva, and then Shiva came up with so many different reasons, and he glorified Shiva. He said, I know that you are none different than the Supreme Personality of Godhead. And I know that it said Vaishnavanam yata Shambhu, that the greatest devotee of the Lord is Shambhu. There's that verse in the end of the Bhagavatam, that verse, it says that just like the Ganga is the greatest of all rivers, and Shiva is the greatest of all Vaishnavas, and the Bhagavat is the greatest of all Puranas. And he said, therefore, you're the greatest Vaishnava. And Shiva said, no, I'm not going to have anything to do with it. He said, I gave boons to people like Banasura. I did other things. They were attacking Krishna's family. Don't call me a devotee. He said, I'm not a devotee at all. I mean, my goodness, if people like Lord Shiva, who are, guna avatars of the Lord, if they're saying, I'm not a devotee, I mean, we should be careful before we start uttering that we're devotees. I mean, generally we have the conception because we've been around for 50 years, or we have, 3 strings of beads on our neck, or we keep, either a big or a very tiny sika, or keep these lines. It has to be more than that. It has to be the condition of the heart. It has to be the true condition of selfless surrender to the Lord, and the true condition of selfless surrender to the devotees of the Lord. So he said, please, Narada, he said, if you really want to know who has received the Lord's extreme limit of mercy, oh my Lord, I got 3 more minutes. Kaishori, could you go away for a few minutes? He said, go to the Vaikuntha world. Vaikuntha world means the world beyond the material world. So he went to the Vaikuntha world. Actually, first he didn't go to the Vaikuntha world, he went to Sutala Loka. He met Prahlad Maharaj. And we all know the story of Prahlad Maharaj, and we know Prahlad's fearless, unalloyed devotion to the Lord. But Prahlad said, I'm not a devotee. He said, but if you really want to know who a devotee is, and all these people have love for Krishna. He said, if you really want to know who is a devotee, go to Hanuman. Hanuman's a devotee of the Lord. He went to Hanuman. Yesterday was Hanuman Jayanti. And he said, go to Hanuman. Hanuman's a great devotee of the Lord. And then after Hanuman, then he goes to the spiritual world. And then he comes to people who are coming more into the category of those who are most dear to Krishna. And the first people that he meets are the Pandavas. Now we think of the Pandavas, and naturally we think they're Krishna's best friends, correct? Arjuna and Bhima and Dharmaraj, Yudhisthira, and Nakul and Sahadev, great, fearless devotees and friends of the Lord. But each and every one of them, they gave absolute reasons why they had not received the mercy of the Lord. And they said, if you really want some devotees who are close to the Lord, go to Dwarka. In Dwarka, you will meet the Yadavas. Narada goes to Dwarka. And the Yadavas are there. Oh my goodness, I talk too much and I've run out of time before I even get to the gist of the whole thing. He goes to Dwarka, and in Dwarka he meets the Yadavas. And the Yadavas are all doing their morning pujas, and they're all performing, their activities. And Narada turns up and he starts glorifying the Yadavas. And they're like, man, what's going on here? Here's the king of the Brahmins, and we're Kshatriyas. And he's glorifying us, and he's like gone wild. And they go, and they get paraphernalia to start doing puja of Narada Muni, and before they can begin the puja, he starts grabbing the paraphernalia and doing puja of them. And it's really a scene, and you have to understand that Narada is like, when he's thinking about going and seeing Vaishnavas, he's crying. His body is like shaking in ecstasy because he's thinking, I'm going to meet a devotee. And then they give so many reasons, no. And then he speaks to the king. And who's the king? Somebody tell me. The king of the Yadavas? Huh? Ugrasen. So he speaks to Ugrasen. And he starts glorifying Maharaj Ugrasen. And Maharaj Ugrasen goes, what are you talking about? He said, my son was Kamsa. He said, my son's a demon. Look what he tried to do to Krishna. Of course, the way that whole story happened is that when Ugrasen when he was young and had just gotten married, his wife, her name is Padmavati. And she was very beautiful. I mean, I guess everybody's beautiful when they're young. And this demon, he wanted to have relations with Padmavati. So the demon transformed his body, and he looked like, maybe he even transformed himself where he looked like Ugrasen, and he seduced her. And then the offspring was Kamsa. So that's how Kamsa came into being. And Ugrasen Maharaj is saying, my son was a demon. He said, how can you say that a person like myself, this is Krishna's family, how can you say a person like myself has received the mercy of God? I've received no mercy. He said, but I can tell you, and I'm really going to have to end on this, and we're going to have to, and I don't know what I'm going to do. I'm not going to speak. I'm not going to do any blah 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 tomorrow morning. I'm just going to try to go straight to it. He said, really, if you want to know who the greatest devotee is amongst all of us, it's Uddhava. He said, Uddhava is Krishna's best friend. Uddhava is so close to Krishna that he's by Krishna's side 24 hours a day. The only cloth that Uddhava wears is the cloth that Krishna has worn. The only garlands that Uddhava wears are the garlands that Krishna has worn. The only jewels that he wears are the jewels that Krishna has worn. And he's the only guy that's allowed to be in the room when Krishna takes prasadam, which means that he gets to have all of Krishna's Mahaprasadam. So go to Uddhava. And since I'm deathly afraid of Srila Indradumna Swami Maharaj, when he's in manager mode at a festival, and I'm not even going to look on that side of the stage, because I'm afraid he's going to give me a whack. I'm going to tell you tomorrow morning what happens when Narada goes to Uddhava. It's a great story. I mean, and this is like really the knockout part of the first quest. And then somehow or other, I'm going to like figure out how to go to the second quest also. Okay, thank you all very much for your attention. Srila Prabhupada ki, Srila Prabhupada ki, Srila Prabhupada ki, Nitai Gopremanandi Bo.
Bhakti Bringa Govinda Maharaj ki. Please don't move. Sit and listen. I'm going to embarrass Bibi Govinda Maharaj and he's going to give me a whack after this. I turned off your mic. One of my godbrothers, Bhakti Chaitanya Maharaj, one time, he said of Govinda Maharaj, he said, and I have the mic,
Give me the mic.
when he speaks it's like gold.
He's said this 45 million billion times. And I told him the next time he said, I'm going to kick his shoes.
But I'm taller than him, so it's not. When he speaks, it's like gold. When he sings, it's like gold. And when he cooks, it's like gold. Give Maharaj a big round of... And if you try to whack me, Maharaj, I have my bodyguard here. He lifts weights every morning. He's only 6 years old. Tough guy. This morning, Maharaj said to me, came into the room, and he said, I know why you're spending so much time down here in Australia, and you're always coming to New Govardhan, because you want to make this a really, really big festival, don't you? I said, yeah, that's the whole idea. And as I said the other day, one of my dreams is that maybe sometime in the future we could make this a yatra festival, which means that Perth and Adelaide and Melbourne and Brisbane and Sydney and all the devotees come, and we just churn the nectar deeper and deeper and deeper and deeper. So that's just one of my ideas. I hope it'll come true one time. Let us remember Brajabalabi Devi Dasi and our good friend Venugopal. And let us remember we've only got a day and a half left, and we've come here for the purpose of chanting Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama. And as you've experienced, we have some of the best kirtaniers in ISKCON, really seriously. Every kirtan, I think, well, what do they say? How do you follow that act? But it just gets better and better and better. So we have a nice schedule today, and we want to be back down here at 10 o'clock this morning. So you take prasad and come back. And don't forget, tomorrow we continue with the festival. It's a half-day festival, but that doesn't mean it's any less potent. Often I see at this event on Monday, people start going home or going this, but it's a national holiday. It's a day of celebration. So stick with us all the way to 2 o'clock tomorrow afternoon if you can. The schedule's full of nice kirtans. We finished with this fantastic feast. I heard there's 1,008 preparations. No, just whatever. But it'd be nice to see a tent full like this all today and all the way tomorrow till 2 o'clock in the afternoon. We have to come back and hear the rest of the story, right? Tomorrow. All right. So relish the prasadam and be back here at 10 o'clock later this morning. Thank you. Hare Krishna.